Hello and welcome back to the House of Graphic Literature. And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite oddities from the 1960s, Speed Racer. Mahako, go, go. And these were manga that were originally put out by Digital Manga Publishing. About had to be like 2008, I'm gonna say. It was a decent bit ago. But basically, the cool thing about these is that this was the very first time that anything by Tatsuo Yoshida was ever published in English. Now, Tatsuo Yoshida, very, very, very important author. Probably best known for being the founder of Tatsunoko, the great animation studio that animated stuff such as Speed Racer and Gatchaman and Kashan and Time Bokan and all kinds of other wonderful things. But of course, we all had to start somewhere. This was not at all where this concept started. In fact, I actually have here Maha Sanshiro, which is, this is basically an early prototype of Speed Racer. Very different type of story, but like there's Pops, or Daisuke as he's known in the original. As you can see, he doesn't drive a car, he rides a motorcycle. But the cartooning is pretty similar to something like how Speed Racer looks. Of course, Speed Racer is a little bit more defined, because I think this was 1957. Well, Speed Racer was like mid-60s. I'm a big fan of Tatsuo Yoshida's work. I think he's an excellent cartoonist. I think he captures movement extremely well, which I think really works whenever you're doing comics about vehicles. And also just like, I like his character designs. They're simple, but they're nice. Like he can convey action extremely well. Like just this sequence right here. I love this. And I love how well he uses panels as well. Like he really takes advantage of being able to use multiple panels. There you go. There's like there's a version of a Spritle, or Kurio, as he's known in the original. These aren't the best reprinted. These were done by Applebox Create, who I'm pretty sure are like a fanzine sort of thing. And this was just like one of those like old cool manga that they really wanted to get reprinted. So it's not the prettiest. But yeah, like our main guy's motorcycle is like basically the precursor to the Mach 5. But instead of a car, it's a motorcycle. This wasn't the only Speed Racer prototype. Yoshida also made one called Pilot Ace, which was basically pretty close to Speed Racer by that point, because he actually does drive a car, and that even the main character looks a lot like Go Mifune from Speed Racer. But it's a pretty cool comic. And this is just the first volume. This had quite a few, if I recall. And there you go. This is It's very Speed Racer type action. But as I said, it's on a motorcycle this time. It's really fun. I love that. Oh, there you go. There's, that looks like a prototype design for, I forget the dude's name. He's like that like Middle Eastern prince that Go takes on. I've seen quite a bit of the original Makoga Go, and it's a really fun show. Anyways, enough filibustering. Let's actually talk about Speed Racer. So as I said, these were done by Digital Manga Publishing. They're done in these nice hardcover volumes. There's Kurio again. There's a nice little, oops, off the camera. There's a nice little forward here. Basically just being like, hey, this is a really important, cool comic, and I'm really glad to have it out in English. Now, granted, this isn't the first time this was out in English. Now Comics actually released, they released 2 like 80-page issues that collected some of the comics in here, and of course changed the names, all that jazz. And then Wildstorm actually released a pretty sizable volume that basically mashed those 2 issues together, and again, name changes galore. But what is really cool is that we do have some of the original title pages. This is the first page of the original manga, and it's really cool because it's like, you know, it's in color. You don't really get to see manga this old in color. But of course, it does have the changed names. So Speed is Speed, Pops is Pops, Spritle is Spritle, Sparky is Sparky. No one got their original Japanese names, which is kind of annoying. But you know, it is what it is. But as you can see a lot of parallels between this and what I had just shown you. Yoshida definitely, he takes control of his panels. He doesn't really skimp out on using them. He's excellent at motion, as you can see. Like, this is the first time that we really get to see like some sort of fight, including the Mach 5, and it's really cool stuff, man. I like the inking isn't too heavy. It's like, it's just enough to show what we're to show the excitement. There's Trixie or Michi, and her helicopter, as she is often in the TV series. And if you're wondering, I have actually read these. These are fine comics on their own. Though I do think that if you've already seen the show, you've kind of already seen all the stuff in here. None of this is original. Nearly all of it was adapted into the TV series. Because this more or less was just a proof of concept. Like, Katsunoko kind of knew that they were going to be making a show based off of this for the general public. And so it only kind of made sense to make this proof of concept. Doesn't make it a bad proof of concept at all. In fact, it's a pretty solid one. But if you've already seen the show, you kind of already know what to expect here. You're really not coming to see anything original. Skullduggery. I forget his Japanese name, but he's a fun character. Yeah, man, I really dig, like, these kinds of like racing stories. I think that's what captivated me so much about the TV series. It's it's really fun to watch, and reading these comics like while I was watching that was just really cool. Yeah, this is I think this was episode like 2 or 3 of the series. Maybe it might have been the first episode. No, I think something else happened before then. Um, I think they skipped the mammoth car in the manga though. I think that was an anime original thing. Oh, here you go. So, really interesting, fun fact about these. So one, really glad they kept the original title pages with the Japanese and everything. But this is the introduction of Fukumen Resa, also known as Racer X, in the dub. And see that that's so cool. I love that. Anytime like Yoshida draws like innards of cars, I clap. There he is, of course, Fukumen Resa himself, or Masked Racer. Um, and you see, I'm trying to get to a very specific. Okay, so I wanted to get to this page because they flubbed a little bit. Let me see if I can find it in here. I think I'm right on the cusp of being on the page that I was looking for. Because it's like right at the beginning of this volume. Yeah, see? It's the exact same fucking panel. And nearly the exact same sequence of events. For whatever reason, they had Go meet Fukumen Resa twice. And the circumstances are almost always the same. Except that second version that I just showed you, that's the one that got adapted into the TV show. This was its own thing. Which is really bizarre. Yeah, because this is the introduction of the Car Acrobat League, which is its own episode in the show as well. So they combined those together, and then they were like, oh shit, we should do a proper chapter with Fukumen Resa, and that's exactly what they did, which is why in that second volume they just reused the same assets to tell a different story. You know, I mean, you use what you have, but still, damn, it's kind of funny, especially with how short this comic already is, that you would do that. But I gotta say, the reprinting, or like the reproduction on these pages is really solid. I love the paper. The paper is really nice. It's not too thin. It's decently thick. I think the inking especially is like it captures how the originals look really well. And it's a really nice presentation. It's just kind of a shame that it uses the names from the dub. Like I figured with bringing over the original manga, it would make sense to use the original names. But also this was, as cynical as it sounds, this was more or less just a cash grab for like nostalgia purposes. Like just seeing it on the shelf, being like, oh yeah, I used to watch Speed Racer. And this set has become increasingly difficult to find for some reason, especially with the slipcase, which is why I don't have it. The slipcase really isn't essential, I feel, so it's whatever. But yeah, it's just becoming like strangely hard to find, and I don't like that, because like these aren't really comics that I think warrant like the insane prices that they go for. But oh yeah, this is the Morongo, I believe it was called in the anime. But they, for some reason, they translated it as melange. Oh yeah, I actually, this is the last episode of, I think it's like episode 15 of the series, because this was the last episode that I watched. It's really cool seeing like how the manga almost acted as like a storyboard for what the show would end up being. Because a lot of these are like one-to-one with their TV episodes, which is really cool. I wanted to flip back. This is a very Tatsuo Yoshida design there. This would no, I think they'd be running in the same magazine by this point, or at least similar magazines. It's really cool that they went to like a more like exotic area, because that means that like Yoshida can show off like how he can draw like mountain ranges and just cool fucking shit like this. I really love that. Shades of Initial D. Wonder if the creator of Initial D knows about this comic. I mean, I'm sure he does, but I wonder if he was actually inspired by it in any way, shape, or form. I know there's a lot of car comics. Like, this wasn't the only one that was popular. But I know it's, like, pretty substantial. I love these end pages. Those are so cool. These do have dust jackets, I forgot to mention. And the underside is just... The underside is pretty cool, actually. I can dig it. This is a weirdly handsome book for what are fairly simple, like, tales. It's cool, though. I believe the original publication for this ran in Shonen Magazine, which is also where Astro Boy, Tetsuo and Atom premiered, and a ton of other series that are notable, but aren't really coming to mind right now. Fun fact about Tatsuo Yoshida, he was the first one to do like a Japanese comic based off of like an American superhero. There's these akahon that he did that are like, I think it's like 25 volumes, where he drew Superman comics, and most of them are based off of actual like 50s Superman comics, which is extremely fascinating. Those have never been reprinted in any way, shape, or form, and they're extremely expensive. But they're really cool, and like you get to see a lot of like Yoshida's takes on various Superman villains and Batman and all kinds of really cool shit. So it'd be nice to get it'd be nice if those could be reprinted at some point, and we could see them in full. I love Fukumen Resa, man. He's one of the coolest. Like he's one of those classic, like, you don't know that your brother is actually your rival, like, characters. I really dig that. Yeah, this is the one with the one guy I was mentioning. I got it mixed up. Yeah, there he is. Again, I don't remember his name. I haven't mentioned it much, but Yoshida does draw a little bit of like scrapping. Um, it doesn't happen too often, at least not in this. Happens more so in the show. But when it does, it's really cool because it's kind of shades of his other comics, like Ninja Gundam Gecko, um, which was actually adapted as a tokusatsu series. I'm surprised Maha Go 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 never like got a tokusatsu series. It seems like something that would like be really cool to do in live action. Of course, the Wachowskis would later on do the Speed Racer TV series, or not TV series, movie. But I do think it'd be really cool if there was like a TV series in like the late 60s, early 70s or something. But obviously that never happened. But yeah, I feel like this would lend itself pretty well to tokusatsu. Again, with the exotic areas. And, like, worth mentioning that none of these stories are very, like, these are all, like, pretty accessible. And they kind of all have the same plot. Just, Go needs to win a race, or Go plans to win a race, but someone else doesn't want him to do that, so they try to sabotage him in one way, shape, or form. I really like this episode of the anime. This one's really good. But yeah, like it's nothing too complicated, which is why like I don't really urge you to go out and find these two volumes. If you can't find them for like lower than like $20, I wouldn't bother. Just get like the Wildstorm collection as like a representative sample for the series, because like I don't think you need all like 300-page books unless you're like a real completionist. But I do think they're really cool to own. And it's a shame that this really is like the only Tatsuo Yoshida we have in English to this day. I'm hoping that someday more of his comics make it over here, but I just don't think there's a market for comics that look like this, unfortunately. This chapter's really interesting. I think this is the one where the workers at the garage, owned by Daisuke, they go on strike, which is really interesting. Not something that you really expect to see in a comic of this era. Okay, it might not be this one, but I know there's a chapter in here where a bunch of workers go on strike, which was really interesting to see in a comic this old. Something I do very much remember about reading these is that it ends like really abruptly. The last chapter really does end up being the last chapter, because they had to wrap up for publication, and it basically just ends. It ends similar way the TV series does, but it's just like it's just really sudden. It's just like things start happening and then we immediately like hit the brakes, which I'm not terribly excited about. Yeah, this is the chapter where they go on strike. I like this character design. Any character with an eye patch looks pretty cool. I love the speed lines to like convey this swerve. That's really fun. It's a good crash. Yeah, sorry I haven't been talking too much about the technique. I've just been kind of showing you these pages, mainly because like a lot of people don't even know these two volumes exist. This is not a very well known set, unfortunately, and I really wanted people to know about it. Yeah, there you go. This is the ending right here, where Go finally meets his brother after all this time, and then it just kind of ends like that, which is really weird. For some reason they have the Speed Racer theme song at the end here. I don't think that was in the original publication. I love that. That's really cool. Um, and so yeah, this right here is a really cool set. It is unfortunately the very last bit of Tatsuo Yoshida we've ever gotten in English, and the very first. So hopefully someday we could get more. But I think as it stands, this is all we got. So if you want to seek these out, just look for Speed Racer DMP or Speed Racer manga set. Should be able to find yours for a decent price, I would hope. If not, though, use this video as a reference if you're really curious to check any of this stuff out. Also, try to track down some of other Tatsuo Yoshida manga. They're well worth it. But anyways, that's gonna about do it for this one. Hope you enjoyed this little overview of this classic comic turned anime. And if there's anything I want you to take from this, it's you should seek out more cool racing comics.